All right.
What's
Good
going
morning, Vietnam. I've always wanted to do that. Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday.
Well, it's afternoon over here, so good morning to you over in Alaska.
Good morning to you, good sir. Live
Good
from
afternoon.
New York. It's Saturday morning.
Thank you, everyone, for being here again. This is going to be an interesting, let's say, show today. More so, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Elephant Challenge, and also talk about a little bit about wholesaling. We're going to have our third business partner, Colin, get on today, and talk about a couple things. So it's going to be pretty neat show today. So I'm pretty excited about it. Thank you all for being here. We truly appreciate you guys more than you know. You guys show up faithfully. You ask amazing questions, and you make us keep going. Truly make us keep going, and we truly appreciate that. So thank you, Kevin. Well, let's see, Kevin. Good seeing you, man. Phenomenal individual.
Thank you for being here, bro. Let's go.
We got Luke in the house. Great to see you guys. Freddie, morning. It's afternoon, sir, but not like wherever you at in part of the world.
It's morning for me, to be fair.
What time is it over there again?
It's 4:35 a.m.
Yeah.
It's 9:35 a.m.
That is hilarious. Jenny, what's going on? What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you, Ashley. Hello, everyone. Let's get this out the way, Jesse. Facebook user.
Gosh dang it, dude. We keep needing to remember to record like an example that we can just like screen share and show everybody.
So guys, so what we're talking about right now more so is Facebook user. Hello. Good to see you here. I think I know who I'm actually looking at my screen right here on the phone. I know exactly who you are. But more so, guys, if you're a Facebook user, please grant StreamYard access to, show your name. We need to know, everyone needs to know who are asking questions, what they're saying, how you guys can squat up, and whatever that may look like. But again, amazing. Great for look at this. Amazing.
Take the extra step, guys. Please take the extra step to go in there and grant StreamYard access to share your name on Facebook.
Luke is here.
So this is the Elephant Show. It coincides with the Elephant Challenge. So if there's things that you guys are doing within this challenge that you need help with, anything that Chris and I do, part of this show is allowing us to help leverage this show for you guys. So if you guys have things that you need, post it in the comments so we can share your name up here and share whatever it is that you guys are needing. But in order to do that, I know you guys can see it on your end, but like Chris said, we're streaming to like 8 different places right now.
Right.
And so everybody else, like if you're watching it on my YouTube or Chris's YouTube or Facebook or wherever you are, when you're posting in the comments, everybody who's watching it in that page can see who you are and what you need. But if somebody else is watching on YouTube and we share your guys' question or whatever it is that you guys need, it just shows up as Facebook user.
Yep.
So we would love to be able to give you guys a platform, a voice for whatever it is that you guys are needing in your business. Any bottlenecks, money, you need a closer, you need somebody to comp a property, you need somebody to help underwrite, whatever that looks like for you. That's part of the intent of this show. And that's why it's called the Elephant Show. It coincides with what Pace is doing with the Elephant Challenge right now. So we really appreciate you guys. Please do us a favor and take that extra step. If you guys don't know, I'll say it one more time. And if you guys in the comments can help us as well, that would be super dope. I'm assuming, so everybody who's popping up as Facebook user, go ahead and click in the description of the video. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, it's a long description with like there's tons of resources in there, by the way, guys. If you guys haven't looked in there, there's tons of links with I think we have got a script or something in there. We've got a couple useful things in there, and we'll continue adding to that description so you guys have those available to you. But like this one right here. I'm not picking on you, but I'm going to use you as an example real quick. Thank you for posting it. Thank you very much for being here. But in the description of the video, if you scroll all the way down to the very bottom of the description, there's a link. And if you click on it, it says something to the tune of, click this link to grant StreamYard access, use your Facebook name or something along those lines. So we really encourage everybody to do that. Really, really appreciate everybody being here. Ashley, I would love to hear what questions you have. Dude.
So I'm looking on the phone right now. That's Savannah. Savannah, good to see you here. Also, the other one was Tamara. So we definitely want to acknowledge you guys, and more so not just acknowledge, make sure you guys are working with people are reaching out to you guys so you can work together and make money together. So whatever that may look like Jesse stated, we're here to help.
That's it.
And
that's it.
Yeah.
Colin Gibney. This guy is a phenomenal individual. We call him Mr. Gibbs. If you guys don't know, the Bee Gees, it wasn't Gibbs, but it was Gibb. So Colin could kind of be like the fourth BG in a way.
Fourth BG. Luke, if anyone needs dispo in Florida or Minnesota, I think it's Minnesota or Minneapolis, hit him up. Definitely hit them up. But yes, Ashley, we'd love to go over your questions, whatever they may have. You can throw it in the chat, or if you want to come on the live stream, we can talk about that as well. Not for sure if you have access to it yet, but we can make it happen. But we do have our third business partner here. Mr. Gibbs is in the building. We are going to bring him up. And again, if you want to ask him specific questions, he does 100% of our underwriting within our business. So anything related to like the business aspect of like underwriting, he is your guy. So, without further ado, Mr. Colin Gibney.
Mr. Gibbs! Guys, would you believe it? I have not had any energy drinks or anything this morning. I'm just really excited. We've got some really cool things going on. I love you guys.
That was actually one thing I learned about Jesse. So initially when I first met Jesse, right, I met him in Phoenix. I'm in Phoenix at Pace's house, right? Yeah, well, I think it was at an Airbnb first before Pace's house, and it was so funny because his energy. I'm thinking to myself like he's on coffee, he's on something, just couldn't figure it out. But
crack.
Right, in reality, he wasn't. This is just him from the moment he wake up to the moment he go to sleep, and this is him. That's why we always tell he got the radio voice. He can do it his own like talk show like at night. Stay tuned for that, by the way. But welcome, Colin. Good to see you here, man.
What's going on, guys?
Thanks for being here, buddy. You look great, man. How's your week been?
Good. It was really good.
Good.
Awesome week. Yeah, good start to the weekend. I woke up at like 2:30 this morning. Took my dog for a walk. Jesse, when I sent you that thing on Instagram,
yeah,
you're like, you're still up? I'm like, nah, dude, I just woke up. I didn't go back to bed.
Dude, I took my beautiful wife to a Valentine's dinner last night. We went to the lovely Texas Roadhouse, and it was phenomenal. You guys remember? I told my wife this when the waiter sat us at the table, and then you know the pail buckets they used to eat peanuts in?
Yes.
There was a bag in there. It looked like a bag of like small bag of potato chips or something. And when I sat down there, and after the usher left us, I looked in there. I'm like, oh, like Texas Roadhouse is like doing potato chips now. That's interesting. And I pull open the bag, and it's a bag. It's like a sealed bag of peanuts. I was like, what? And I turned and looked at my wife, and I was like, babe, you remember when we used to just eat peanuts off the floor pre-COVID? Man, how times have changed. Now everything is all prepped up in a bag and interesting. So I just thought that was interesting. I was like, man, times are changing. We're gonna be telling our grandkids. When we used to go to Texas Roadhouse, we used to eat peanuts up off the floor. They didn't come in these fancy dancy bags. But yeah, it was a great night. And then after we got back, I hit up me and Colin were kind of talking a little bit. I was up till like midnight or something last night, and Colin was texting me. I was like, dude, you're up? You're still awake? And he's like, no, bro, I've been asleep for like 6 hours already. I'm like, gosh, dang. So anyway, yeah, Colin, thanks for being here, bro. Super exciting. Everybody gets really excited when we have Colin on. He's just a freaking wealth of knowledge. He's like Rain Man with numbers. Like math and numbers is mine and Chris's Achilles heel. So thankfully, Colin is like the freaking Superman. This is a perfect example though. Like in our partnership, we do a lot of different things in our business, but we each have our own individual roles, and numbers is certainly one of many that Colin excels in, well beyond Chris and I. So if you guys have questions for Colin concerning numbers or underwriting, whatever, please throw them in the chat. We'd love to help you guys any way that we can.
For sure. Chris, can you highlight Ashley L's question? Yeah. First question is related to delinquent taxes. Do you see any issues with trying to get properties before they hit the auction? Absolutely not. Get after it. Call them. Pull that list, trace them, call them. See if you can be a solution to their problem. That's absolutely a great way to go after off-market properties before they go to auction.
Those actually come. I hate to say this like this, but there's a lot of problems there. Not problems. Actually, the sellers need a solution, right? And more so specifically, a lot of the great deals, especially creatively, comes from either probates, tax liens, something like you're really trying to solve for, right? And a lot of people don't realize that. They think, okay, it's some kind of delinquent, or they're in the rares. There's nothing we can do. There's so many different exit strategies. It's kind of limit. It's kind of endless, transparently.
You know their situation, there's some motivation there. So usually that's attached with a timeline. And so if you can find those niche lists like probate and stuff like that, those are fantastic people to talk to and see if you can solve a problem for them. There's a problem, period. Now, are you the best solution for them? Time will tell. But yeah, reach out, get them on the phone before they go over to auction. That's a fantastic way to source off market properties. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Wesley Grant is in the building.
Oh,
Wesley Grant. What's going on, Wesley? Good to see you here. Thanks for actually just being here and just being you in general. Guys who doesn't know Wesley Grant, Wesley is actually in our sub-2 community as well. A phenomenal, genuine individual. Very knowledgeable. He is a lender. And I know Pace made that big announcement the other day, and sorry, Pace. Not Pace, but sorry, Wesley. They're probably gonna blow your phone up now or blow your social media up. But more so, guys, he's a great guy. Don't take advantage of this guy. He means. I can't put words to what Wesley is. Right? He's just a individual who just genuinely. Wesley Grant, like it's so hard to explain what Wesley.
Genuine, man. Genuine is a great way to describe it.
Wes lights up a room. So if those of you who don't know, Wes just did a deal with Pace and Kevin Cho out in Phoenix.
Yep.
So he's moving and shaking, doing big things in the community. Definitely hit him up. He's also amazing with numbers. He's very, very good with that stuff too. He'd be happy to do deals with you guys as well. Just come correct. When you come and talk to Wes about any opportunities that you might have that you want to partner up with him on, have all of the information, come with clear, succinct stuff and talk with him about it and, squat up. Let's make some money together.
Absolutely. And let's see. So not Ash, I'm sorry. This says Facebook user again. I would love to know who we're speaking to, but great question. How do you find tax liens, the list and what that looks like? There's many different ways you can go about it. Many different ways. But Colin, go ahead and take it away, man.
Oh, I was going to say to the ever anonymous Facebook user. So there's lots of ways to get those properties. So you can go on like PropStream, Batch Leads, List Source, and you can filter all those out. But the most accurate data you can get is by going to your county and getting the list of like water shutoff lists, tax liens, all that stuff. You can find all that stuff on your county, and then you can filter it out, put that into an Excel spreadsheet, or I forget what kind of file they call it. Upload it to one of these skip tracing services, get all the numbers, and reach out. Start pounding the phones, shooting out your text blasts, whatever you got to do, and yeah, start talking to sellers.
You know what's interesting? Alaska, from like way back when, it's a law. Alaska's behind the times, guys. For everybody who's watching this and doesn't really know anything about Alaska, we actually had a great conversation with another individual moving and shaking. Not in the sub-2 community or anything, but they're doing a lot, especially in multifamily. So I'm really excited for that relationship. And we were talking a little bit about Alaska. And dude, Alaska's like 30 years behind the times, guys. It might as well be Mars as far as anybody's concerned when we talk about Alaska. But they've got a law from way back when that everybody who has tax liens on their property and their property is scheduled to go to auction, that stuff shows up in the newspaper. They advertise that in the Anchorage Daily News. And it's interesting because everybody is really old school in their thought process. When everybody sees that list, they're like, oh, I like this address. And they go to auction in March. So I'm going to go wait until that goes to auction. And I'm going to show up in March and see if I can buy that house.
Yep.
Where if you're coming from it and doing the things that the three of us are talking about, and that a lot of you watching this are already doing, if you see that in the newspaper, like hit them up, be a helper, solve that problem before they go to auction, help alleviate them of the that burden.
Jesse, let me answer this real quick for
Yeah.
Kevin. So Kevin, he said, "Hey, there are 10 of us in the Zoom." So yes, on the calendar, you must be a newer, either newer to the Elephant Challenge more so. So we've been doing this for about what 6-7 months now. We
Yeah,
switched
about
over
since July.
to we switched over to live feed on the Creative Finance Group and our YouTube channel as well. So we stream it live more so every time, and there's more destinations specifically. So if there's 10 of you guys in there, can you let them know to either go to one of our Facebook pages or the Creative Finance Group and or one of the YouTube channels. So it's definitely out there. Sorry, I should have maybe we should update that, Jesse, just to let them
Yeah.
know and have Carly, make that change. But thanks for
Yeah, thank you for
bringing
letting
it
us
to our
know,
attention.
Kevin.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to point that out. Back to you, sir.
Oh, I was going to start. Tamara had a question, and then there was another one. I see it in the comments. Oh, okay. We'll do this one first. When we door knocked off a pre-foreclosure list, we got a lot of angry people because so many people called and knocked them. Is there a better way than pulling the same list that everyone else pulls? I would say no. I mean, Chris and Jesse might have a different answer, but everything's public record, public access. There's no magic list or anything like that. I would say the best thing you could do is kind of stand out from the crowd. Really listen to listen, not to listen to respond, and see how low you can get them. See what they're going through. See what kind of challenges they're having. See how you can solve their problems and be a resource to them, even if you're not their buyer. Just be like, hey, I might not buy this property. I am an investor. That is my intent for now. But at the very least, I want to be a resource to you. Where if it's not me who's buying it, maybe I can connect you or make you aware of a program that you're not aware of, or connect you with a loan modification specialist or X or Y or Z, and just be that resource. You can stand out from the crowd that way. You actually care, try to solve problems. I can't overstate that enough. That is the number one thing you can do in this business, and the money will just come. If you put your focus on solving somebody's problem and actually understanding where they are, everything else will fall into place. That's the only thing you need to focus on. What is their problem? How can I help them? Period. The rest will work itself out.
Colin, I think you hit the nail on the head there, man. I mean, just as you're describing that, I mean, it makes me think of like just how we handle ourselves as a company and just how we've kind of stood out from what everybody else is doing as well. I mean, look at this property that we have in Anchorage, that we stopped the auction at. I mean, when we first talked to the seller, we talked to her for probably about 45 minutes. And in that 45 minutes, we took the time to understand what she was going through and threw out a couple different options to see what she would be receptive to and what she felt may be a good fit for her. And we let her know, like you said, we set that upfront expectation that, hey, we are investors. But at the same time, regardless of whether or not I'm your buyer, I just want to help be an extra resource in any way that I can. What is it you're trying to accomplish? What is your ideal situation coming out of this? And as a matter of fact, on that same phone call, because that's how we guided that conversation, we built rapport, we built credibility. And in doing that, by the time we got off the conversation, it was all but a closed deal, basically. Actually, we went to go send her a contract right after we got off the phone call. And about 5 minutes before we got off the phone call, we were like, ho, wait a minute. I don't even have the address as a matter of fact, now that I think about it. Could you send me the address so we can look at it and know what to put this in the contract? But the reason I share that, guys, is because when we talk to people, the first thing that we're trying to do, especially people who are going through pre-foreclosure, and we're going to see a lot of that moving into deeper into 2023, but taking the time to stand out from the crowd by understanding what it is that the seller is actually trying to accomplish and what their ideal scenario is, and then letting them know that, hey, regardless of whether or not I'm the buyer, I just want to help you in any way that I can. And it's neat because when people think about sales, I don't know about you guys, Chris, Colin, I know you've been in sales for a hot minute now. Is that something that you grew up and you were like, man, like I love sales, I want to get better at sales, or is it something that just kind of shifted?
No, it kind of happened by accident, honestly. Never was inclined towards sales whatsoever. I learned on the fly, learned from starting a used car dealership. So none of it was inherent. I would say I'm more introverted than extroverted. I can be very extroverted, but for the most part, I'm introverted. I'm kind of quiet, low key, keep to myself. not what you would expect from like a car salesman per se. But yeah, just in learning everything that I had to about sales, just kind of developed, and I put my own natural flavor and spin onto things. And really, it's the same thing in the car industry. It's like, hey, I'm just trying to, how can I be a resource to you? Like, you might not buy the car from me, like that's fine. Obviously, I want the sale, but at the same time, if I can be a better resource for you, I will. I've turned plenty of people away from their like, would you do financing here? It's like, I only have access to subprime lending, so obviously, what's the situation? And if they have good credit, I'm just like, no, you should go to your bank, go to a credit union where I might make more money in house using, the subprime lending. I refer them out. I'm like, you should talk to this person at this bank. Oh, you're at Advantage, to go talk to this guy, Doug. He'll take care of you, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So it's always just trying to solve the problem and put whoever you're talking to in the most ideal situation. It's really all it is.
I love that. That was something that really stood out to me was your way of salesmanship, because a lot of people, there's this stereotype when it comes to sales, when it comes to being a closer and pressuring somebody to do something that is a good fit for you, but may not be a good fit for them at all. And that was something that I really loved and resonated with, the way that you talk to sellers and the way that you negotiate and close people. And it really kind of helped me understand at a higher level what sales really is. Like I said, it has this negative connotation. And I replace in my head, I replace the word salesman with the word helper. Like, you don't want to be a salesman? Cool. Can you help people? Because that's really what it is, and what we're doing at a higher level is just helping people.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you be a helper? Can you solve problems? So, I think I love the way this conversation is going, because it really is going to be very instrumental in how a lot of people start handling sensitive type scenarios, such as pre-foreclosures and things like that, as we go into this year. You guys are going to see a lot of this, especially like forbearances, right? Like, people were doing the forbearance program during COVID where they didn't have to pay. There was another individual that I talked to in Alaska that had a duplex. He was doing the whole forbearance thing. He didn't need to, but he took advantage of it, which is fine. But so all the rent and everything he was getting every month, he was just spending it. It was extra money for him. So he's putting an extra couple grand in his pocket. But what he didn't remember to do was to set money aside for his taxes and insurance. And that's what got him in a pinch. So, you're going to see scenarios like that all over the country all the time this year. So I love having this type of conversation about what sales really is and what we're overarchingly trying to do here to help our communities and people going through these types of situations out.
For sure. I'll let you guys do this one.
Rebels Haven, Alaska. Colin, this is another veteran. Fun fact, Air Force guy, dude. Me and him joined the Air Force together in 2009. His name is Joseph Mabry. Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you. We partner with literally everybody. Actually, I'm glad you asked this question, because a young lady hit me up yesterday, as a matter of fact, and she was like, "Hey, I'm not sub 2. I'm not, and I was like, hey, being sub 2, like, it doesn't like give you like necessarily the credibility or anything. It just means that you paid to get in here. Although there is some credibility to being in here. They do vet, a little bit more so than any other mentorships do. But in terms of who we work with, like, yeah, let's work together, guys. You guys don't have to be sub 2 for us to work together. We want to work with everybody in here.
And so Pace has said this many times. It's like, people will ask him, like, should I join the mentorship, or they have questions on the creative finance page, like whatever the case may be. He's like, don't join the mentorship. Squat up with my students. Like, you don't have to be sub 2. Pace encourages you guys working with sub 2 students. The collaboration is always encouraged. And then obviously it's the best community I've really ever been a part of. It's pretty incredible as well, being in here. So not to take away from sub 2, but yeah, it's encouraged. Squat up with sub 2 students. I speak for everybody, in sub 2. We'd love to work with everybody who's not, the more the better.
Absolutely. Ashley says, crazy idea, but I was thinking leaving flowers with a handwritten card that explains how it will help. That is totally fine. One of our dispo manager, Rich, right? He actually has a door knocking team. Each door is a little bit different depending on a specific situation, right? Of course, it's pre-foreclosure or whatever that may look like. You can do whatever you feel will get their attention. I personally went, literally, I drove to New Jersey. It was about a 5-hour drive for me. Well, 5.5-hour drive. I got a heavy foot, but more so specifically, literally, we went door knocking, and literally every single door, if they didn't answer, we left a note. Like one of them, it was actually a huge house. It was a $780,000 house, and we kept knocking on the door. No one answered. However, there was a bunch of dogs that were barking. So Rich literally took a notepad, took it off, and started writing, cute dogs, please feel I'm actually an investor in the neighborhood. And he had a whatever that looked like specifically for that actual house. But to answer your initial question, 100%, you can always do that. But just let them know what you're looking to do. Like, hey, I'm an investor in the area. I actually saw your house, and you don't want to say we know you're in pre-foreclosure, because at the end of the day, people don't want to hear that, so you got to bring their wall down a little bit. Let them know you're just in the area looking to purchase property. Wasn't for sure if you're looking to sell, whatever that may specifically look like, but every market is a little bit different. So just be cautious going into anyone's neighborhood. But yeah, 100%. I think that's a great idea. I'm not for sure if they're going to be fake flowers or real flowers, but I know if it's snowy out, they probably won't get that. But
I've heard people like ordering
pizza
pizza and stuff for sellers too, with like a written note on it.
There you go. That's one way of doing it.
That's super creative. I've never heard that.
Facebook user. I wish we knew who you're talking to, but what is a good app or website to find sub-2 or seller finance properties other than Privy or Land Watch? I never heard of Land Watch. Have you guys?
I think it's just like a land marketplace, like Zillow.
Yeah, shooting from the hip here.
Shooting from the hip, yeah. the real
ball in here.
Go ahead,
there's
Colin.
not really an app that would find those opportunities for you. You have to talk to the sellers and see if it's if that's their situation. If their situation would call for a seller finance or sub-2.
So I want to point this out real quick too, because I think there's a huge misconception on what sub-2 seller finance, like all these creative strategies are. Because I've had people hit me up before and they're like, Jesse, I want to buy a property and I want to buy it in Alaska. I want to buy it in Anchorage and I want to pay $5,000 and I want to buy it sub-2. Help me convince a seller to do that. That's not at all what creative finance is. That's not what sub-2 is. That's not what seller finance is. That's not what terms are. That's not what sales is. It's simply whether or not sub-2 or seller finance is a good fit for the seller. So the way that we have our operation running is we are a wholesaling company. So here's the thing about creative finance leads is they're the exact same leads as wholesale leads. Yep. It's the same thing. There's no different really set of leads that you would use unless you wanted to maybe filter low equity or something like that. But in essence, it's the same type of lead you would use for wholesale. But when we have a lead that comes in, we always negotiate a cash price first. Even if it's something that we want to buy creatively, we negotiate it down to that cash price as much as we can. And then if it's not a good fit for the seller, like let's say, for example, let's say a seller is asking $100,000 or $95,000. Let's say they're asking $100,000. They have they owe $95,000 on their mortgage. Well, if you were going to come in as a wholesaler, you would offer them a cash price of $60,000 to $70,000.
Yep.
So that means that seller has to come out of pocket $20,000, $25,000 to get out from underneath that. Do you think they're going to do that, especially if they're in a distressed situation? No. So that's when it's like, oh, well, cash isn't a good fit. We buy properties a handful of other ways as well. What is it you're trying to accomplish? And try to understand why that's not a good fit. And then that's when you're going to come to find out that, well, I owe $95,000 on my mortgage. Oh, okay. What are you trying to do? What is your timeline like? How much repairs needs to go into it? Blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot that comes out of that conversation, but you got to take the time to help these people and to understand what the situation is. For example, I'll give you an example real quick. I was talking with a lady. I shared this on my I shared this on my social media last week, I think. But I was talking to a seller down in Houston, and we were talking about sub-2, and he's totally down for it. I think the property I think he owes 1.2 million on his mortgage, and he was wanting 1.45 or something along those lines. So there was about 400 and some change in equity. And so we were talking about structuring something creatively, and he asked me, well, Jesse, let me ask you, why would somebody do this? And so here's where third-party stories are great, and this is a true story. I talked to a lady in North Carolina. I was like the 10,000th investor to talk to her, and she needed $350,000 from that property. That was her asking price. She wasn't moving from it. She didn't want to list it with a realtor and go through the hassle of showing it and commissions and all that other kind of stuff. She wanted $350,000. All these other knuckleheads were coming in, and they were offering her 220, 230, 240. And she was like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't fit. But nobody else took the time to understand, well, let me ask you, why do you need 350? What is it you're trying to do? What do the next couple months look like for you? What is your ideal situation? Asking some of these open-ended questions to understand more fully what's going on. Nobody had done that. I was the only person to do that, believe it or not. 10,000 investors later, I'm the only one to ask that. And come to find out that she wanted to take that $100,000 of equity that she has and go buy an RV. And then she wanted to sell her house, get out from underneath it, and go RVing for the next 4 years. And so I said, oh, coincidentally, I bought an RV myself last year, but I didn't need $100,000 to do it. What if I can give you your exact asking price, and we can structure something to where I can give you down payment and you can use that to get into an RV? And then we can structure something where you're receiving mailbox money every single month, and that's going to pay for your gas. That's going to pay for your food. That's going to pay for your golf clubs. That's going to pay for your fishing gear. So you can go RVing for the next 4 years. And she was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like that. And so we were able to structure something where we can move on, and it helps solve her problem. But that's what creative finance is. We need to understand, if a cash offer doesn't work, why doesn't it work? And that's where we start structuring something that may be a good fit for a seller. We're not sitting here trying to convince the unconvincible, as SuperMario would say. I love that he said that. I jumped into one of his Zooms one time, and right when I jumped in, that was like the first thing he was going over. And I was like, dude, that is super dope. That's exactly what we're not trying to do. Our job here isn't to try to convince somebody that Sub-2 or seller finance is a good fit for them. It's simply just a tool on your tool belt that gives you more options, that you bring something else to the table. You bring more resources than a wholesaler would.
Absolutely.
Facebook user, the owner is moving in 2 weeks. What are my options? We'd like to do a JV. So there's a lot of missing content here, context here. We have to, we don't know what stage, if it's, I'm assuming it's in pre-foreclosure, right? And or maybe there's not. We really can't give you options unless we have one address, and don't put the address in the comments. More so just reach out to one of us so we can help you with the next steps, whatever that may look like. And I wish I knew who this was. Guys, again, this more so Facebook user, just make sure you guys are great and StreamYard access to make your name visible so we know who we're speaking to. But we love the JV and see how we can help get that seller to the finish line, whatever that may look like.
Had that Facebook user, had them shoot Chris, Colin, or I a PM or a DM or whatever you guys are calling them nowadays. Hit me on the gram, and let us know kind of what's going on, and then we can kind of see how we can move forward together from there.
So, Colin, I want to ask you this one. This is from Facebook user again. Actually, I'm going to see exactly who this is. Sorry, Facebook.
I'll read it. I see foreclosure starting this year, no doubt. People are getting sadly laid off or making less money compared to high inflation. Your thoughts? Yeah.
Her name is Lisa. Lisa, by the way, who asked that question.
Yeah, I mean, the inflation continues to go up. All the forbearances are ending. You know, there's the market's cooling off in some places. Inventory is still low in a lot of different places. Like I know around me, we haven't been affected a whole bunch, to be honest, besides interest rates. So anytime the Fed jumps up interest rates, it just means it's more expensive for the bank to borrow money. And so when it's more expensive for the banks to borrow money, it's more expensive for the consumer to borrow money. So that's going to inevitably slow things down a little bit and reduce purchasing power for the average consumer. So stuff's going to sit on the market a little longer, and stuff's going to slow down, certainly more so in markets than others. You know, real estate is very regional. Yeah, and inflation's kind of running out of control, which is, I think, the thinking behind raising interest rates to kind of cool down the economy a little bit. So, yeah, no, I think foreclosures are going to continue to happen, probably at a higher rate this year than we've seen in the recent past. I think that would be a good assumption to make.
One more time, how do you show your name, Jesse?
In the description, so right above the video, there's a description of the video, and if you click on that description, it's going to be kind of a long description, which is kind of what the elephant show is, and then we've also included some links with some helpful resources in there. But if you scroll all the way down at the very, 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 very bottom, there's a link that says click this link to grant StreamYard access to share your name in Facebook or something along those lines.
So the initial Facebook user, her name, this is Cassie Collins. This isn't in foreclosure. So yeah, we definitely need to hear more of a backstory to see exactly what's going on with that lead. We are more than willing to JV. Just let us just reach out to any one of us, and then we can definitely hop on the phone or whatever that specifically may look like. Okay. Let's see. Angel, good to see you here. Good to see you. Let's see. There was one right here. Facebook user again. I signed up for Privy and did the filter how they show on the Elephant Challenge on Thursday, but setting the filler to all seems like a lot of listings are very old, wouldn't still be in foreclosure still. It all depends on the stage. There's 4 different parts of foreclosure specifically, but more so, that's transparently. I'm okay with listings sitting there. Those are the best ones. If it's like 45 days, 90 days, those are the ones you want to attack and try to convert them over to creative finance, whatever that specifically may look like. The only obstacle I can probably potentially see is just talking to the agent. If you talk to the agent, they may say they're still looking for a cash offer, of course, but if they're not familiar and or open to having a conversation about creative finance, then that listing will sit. So if you need help negotiating that conversation, just give myself, Colin, or Jesse, or call, or whatever that may look like specifically. Unless Colin, do you want to add anything to that? What are your thoughts about when seeing that kind of stuff?
No, well said. If you're seeing stuff on market for a long time, yeah, it's worth calling. There's obviously some motivation there, where there's room for you to talk with the agent, try to come up with a solution, and again create a situation to where the seller is happy and all of their needs are taken care of.
Mel S, can a foreclosure be postponed more than once? 100%. I think we did it 3-4 times, Colin, for California one. For the 5 unit. Yeah, 100%. It could definitely be postponed, depending on the specific state and the stage of the foreclosure. And also the lender that's involved. There's a lot of moving parts, so you got to make sure you're communicating with the right individuals during the transaction of just trying to stop the foreclosure. But to answer your initial question, yes.
Yeah, if you guys need help with any of these foreclosure things coming up, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely have many experience in several states of stopping foreclosures, and it's pretty neat to go through that process. And one, we're helping the seller out, ensuring that they're getting what they initially asked for. And two, sometimes you get a situation where the seller just they still want to stay in a house, and they just need help stopping the foreclosure. And a lot of people who's green to the industry, they just think about the money aspect of things. Like, okay, I can't make any money, so I'm not going to help her. That's where you're wrong. It should be opposite, but more so, we can't change your mindset. Only thing we can do is guide you in the right direction. But more so, like, literally, there's a lot of opportunity out there. Like, just that one great deed can literally bring you other opportunities. Maybe her neighbor is going through something, they want to move. You just never know, right? But I just want to, be transparent, and let you guys know you will potentially come across those situations where the seller still wants to stay in the house after you stop the process. So you always want to make sure you understand exactly what the seller is looking for before just trying to jump the gun and see how much you're going to make on that deal. Like Jesse stated earlier, we had our intentions within that 45 minutes was to gather as much information as needed. We found out a lot of information. Transparently, I'm going to share it more so. The lady, she lost her husband, she lost her daughter, she lost her sister, and I believe she lost her nephew, all in the same year. That's a lot. right? That is a lot to take in, right? So, of course, she lost half her income from her husband. She lost a lot of different things that really, and she's a 20 or 30 year real estate agent. So initially she could have listed this house herself if she really wanted to. But more so, she really needed her help because she lost half her income, and that was a rough patch for her. But more so, we 45 minutes into the conversation, we had no idea about the address, where the property was located, anything. All we knew is the wholesaler brung us the lead and said, "Hey, here's the situation." And we not one time we asked for the address or what's going up with the property or what's the condition. We just gather information, as much information, like as Jesse stated earlier, literally right before we hung up. Oh, by the way, can you send us the address? We had no idea what the address was, which it's the shift of, just conversation. If you just have a conversation and just want to provide value to whatever that, to individual, whatever that may look like, just a lot of different things happen in mysterious ways. And it's wonderful. Like Jesse, I, and Colin, like after that conversation, we felt amazing. We're helping this lady. We didn't have no idea, probably maybe the week after that conversation, we had no idea what we was going to even do with the property. Our main focus was to stop that foreclosure. That was it.
That really was it. The only reason we needed the address was so the
contract.
We could get things moving along with that, dude. That was funny. Yeah, we didn't even look to see what our exit strategy would be or anything like that. It was purely just to get on the phone with her, figure out what was going on and how we could help. And Chris, my gosh, man, bless you, bro. Because you alone spent over 20 hours over like a period of 4 days, including weekends.
Yeah.
Trying to get a hold of people at the bank and other attorneys involved. And I know you specifically right off the get-go put a lot of time and effort into it without us even knowing what we were going to do with it, how, what was going to turn of it, man. So, but yeah, that's what this is all about.
If you need help stopping an auction or TC services or really just anything real estate related, like Chris is a beast. Like reach out.
Appreciate that, guy.
I've seen him stop so many auctions at this point. It's nuts.
Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Angel, always glad to be here. My favorite fellas. I love that. Appreciate you being here as well. Let's see. S, how do we get your number if we need some help negotiating with the agent or sub to potential? But reach out. Just reach out to any one of this DM us and or specifically. We'll give you our cell phone numbers. That's not a problem. We're not trying to hide nothing. We want to work with everyone in here. We want everyone in this chat, whether you're from Facebook, StreamYard, and or YouTube. We want you guys to be squatting up, working with each other, and making money. I'm on home at work. I can see Justin, Chris, and what else is on?
And Chris's info.
Not for sure.
They're asking who else is on the Zoom.
It's the fourth BG. Mr.
Mr. Colin Gibney. He's our third business partner within our company. Mr. Gibboni. But yes, that's what happened. Let me just see right here. Facebook user again. Hey guys, thank you for the info. I'm in very hot. See, it's what, 20 degrees here right now. 20 degrees. I'm in a very still hot market, Florida. Prices have only dropped less than 5%. Hoping it would decrease. High interest, high prices don't work. See a lot of sellers in denial, but reality will hit them eventually. 110%. 100%.
Follow.
Let me hammer down on this really quick. Okay, a lot of people that are doing, and this was something I like when I first got started in real estate, and I learned that you could make 6 figures a month. I was like, what? How are these people doing this? And in my mind, I was like, okay, they've got a really specific market. They've got a really specific list that nobody else knows about.
Right.
But guys, that's not it. The thing where people are not doing deals is because they're not hitting the phones. They're not following up. If they call a young lady in North Carolina and that young lady's like, yeah, I need 350,000. And you're like, okay, well, I'll give you 250. And she's like, no. Then you're like, okay. And then you throw it in your dead leads or you just don't even bother following up.
Yep.
It's going to be in the follow-up. The people that are killing it and wholesaling right now, it's not because they have this crazy freaking list. It's because their follow-up game is far above and beyond anybody else's. And they understand that. That's all it is. So this, I can't hammer down on. Let me give you another example. I called about a property in Florida, and the owner, we're actually still friends. We actually still talk. And this was actually a couple years ago now. But this type of scenario happens every single day. But his name was Ivan. I called Ivan, and I'm talking to him. He lives in Texas with his wife, and he owns that property in Florida. And I'm getting information about the property, and I said, "Well, Ivan, let me ask you. This sounds like an amazing property. I mean, you've got it rented out. I mean, truth be told, I would be a hypocrite if I told you to sell it, because I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to buy it from you. I'm going to turn around and rent it out. What's got you interested in renting it out or selling it?" And he's like, "You know what? You are again, same scenario. You're the 10,000th investor to freaking call me about this house." And so last night, I was talking to my wife, and I asked my wife, I said, "Hey, I keep getting bugged about this house. Do you think we should sell it?" And she's like, "Yeah, if you want to sell it, go ahead and sell it." And so the next day he said, "Jesse, you were the next person to call me after I had that conversation with my wife." And that was a couple years ago, but this happens every day.
Yep.
And so it was thankfully I had that lesson learned very early on in my business. I understood at that point that, oh my gosh, wow, it's literally just a numbers game, and it's all in the follow-up. So these guys that are going through foreclosure, it's not that a lot of people are in denial or think, "Hey, I've got time, I can fix this on myself." And bless them, I hope that they're able to. But in the event that they're not, it's going to be the next person that follows up with them when that mindset shift hits. If they got 45 days before they go to auction, and that mindset shift doesn't happen until day 30, and they realize that, oh my gosh, I've got 2 weeks until I'm about to legit lose my house, it's going to be whoever's got that follow-up, the strongest follow-up game in those 2 weeks. That's who's going to be the problem or the person who gets that deal.
100%.
Absolutely. Marcellus, providing options and knowledge to families is always key. Had a foreclosure and wish I knew what I knew. We trust, but we always reflect. That's one thing Jesse and I and Colin, we reflect on a lot of different things. How can we what other options could we potentially, told the seller? What, we try to give all the options, especially trying to understand the backstory. And because ultimately, long as the seller is happy, that's really the ultimate goal. And that's why we usually kind of, sit down, really understand exactly the situation. Okay, this is option 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which option actually is the best fit for you? Because, essentially, is there an option that we potentially would want her to proceed with? Yeah, yes, 100%. But ultimately, the seller comes first. And people got to realize this as the seller that needs to make that final decision. Mm-hmm. Angel, opportunity doesn't always fall in your lap. You need to act 100%. I couldn't agree more. I love that. Kevin had a new list, multifamily listing passed by the way from a realtor. I put it together a creative offer, but I have only been connected with the creative RE with Facebook about a week, so I didn't have to correct. She's interested. Has a lot of subject questions or something. We run numbers and yes, 100%. Now, with that being said, is the realtor open to getting the seller on the phone? So I just want to make sure, is this going to be because it's no longer on the market, if I'm reading this correctly. Listing passed by way. I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah.
My way from a realtor. So yeah, it's newly listed. If you want us to take a look at it and hop on a call and try to see what we can work out together, please email us or reach out to us individually on social media. So info@thirdmindrei.com. It's the 3rdmindrei.com. That's our email address, info@thirdmindrei.com. or reach out to one of us individually. We'll hop on a call. We'll go over some numbers, and then we can have that next step. We can go through everything together. Look at that next step with the real estate agent as far as like how are we going to get the seller on the phone with the agent. We can talk through all of that stuff. We can move that deal further down the pipeline, and get on the phone with the seller and see if we can actually solve their problems.
Absolutely. Pansy, good to see you. Good to see you.
Can you highlight Austin's question? Austin Myers. It's a couple up from Kevin's last question. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm trying to close my very first deal. Someone already else has it on contract, and I'm just trying to middleman for fair compensation. Stuck and don't know where to go. Please help. So, Austin, it sounds like you are trying to find a buyer for this deal. I would love to take a look at it. Same thing as before, info@thirdmind.rei.com, or reach out to Chris, Jesse, or myself via social media, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you find us. We'd love to help you find a buyer.
Right.
Help you do your first deal. That would be awesome.
I'm just trying to middleman for fair compensation. Yeah, 100%, guys. If you haven't done your first deal, let's make that happen. What are we waiting for? You know you got to take action. You can't wait till something happen and someone bring you something. Literally, take action now, because you don't want to be in the same situation 6 months from now and wondering why you haven't received your first deal. I think Austin's going in the right direction. He's reaching out. He more so asking for help. So I love that.
And Austin's a perfect example. His first real prospect of doing a deal and making money. Well, I won't say that. I don't know his situation. Well, his very first deal. Okay, I do. His very first prospect of making money in real estate, he didn't even find the deal. He's being solicited to find a buyer, and he wants to be compensated for it, which he should be. It's great. Talk to local people who are moving and shaking. Try to provide value to them. If you're not, if you don't have that direct to seller avatar where you're not it's just, it doesn't fit well with your disposition. I'm a firm believer you can learn anything and do anything you put your mind to. But if you are more inclined to have a more peer-to-peer relationship and do more of the disposition side of things, do that. Position yourself in that kind of place. There's so many ways to make money in real estate. It's incredible. So, Austin, we'd love to connect with you. See what's going on with that deal and help put some money in your pocket, man. We'd be really happy to help you there.
Kevin said, sellers responded. She is interested. Oh, phenomenal.
Let's see if we can line up a call with all of us and the seller and the realtor.
100%.
Can somebody put the email? Is there a way for us to put an email somewhere?
Yeah, I'll do that.
I got it right here.
Put our email right in the chat, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Let me give you guys something. Speaking of, because this is, I love, this is a good example. I'm excited to talk with these guys, and then maybe we can share how that conversation went next week. I saw somebody ask how often we do this. So this show is every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you guys can find us right here on the Facebook and the YouTubes. And come here if you guys have stuff going on throughout the week and you're like, man, I need some clarity on this. I need somebody to help display. Guys, we have access to 4 million buyers across the entire country. If you guys aren't doing deals because you can't find buyers, there's no excuse. Let us leverage the show. We're happy to help in any way that we can. Chris added our email at the bottom. I hope you guys can see it. It's kind of scrolling along the bottom. info@thirdmindrei.com. But I wanted to touch on this real quick because I know with the Elephant Challenge, I know a lot of people are also talking with agents and doing a lot of deals that are on market. So let me give you guys something real quick to say. And this is recorded, so if you guys don't catch it all the first time, I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to find something to write this down. I'm going to give you I'm not a big fan of scripts, but I'm going to give you a script for something you guys can say to set that conversation up if you need help doing creative when it comes to on-market deals or where there's a broker or an agent involved, okay? So if you guys got something to write this down, this is what I want you guys to say. Now, as always, like we said, we always go cash first. Now, when cash doesn't work and the agent comes back and tells you to kick rocks, this is what I want you guys to say. Verbatim. Say, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, It sounds like we're not a good fit for a cash buyer. However, we buy properties a handful of different ways. And if your clients would be receptive to something a little less conventional, I would love to set up a phone call with you, your clients, and my partners, and maybe go over a couple of those options. And of course, answer any questions you or your clients have. We can pay for closing costs and your commission.
That is key right there. Your commission.
Is that something you would be opposed to? That right there, guys. I want you to say that verbatim. And if they ask you anything else, say, you know what? My partner handles that side of the business. But let me know if that's something you guys would be receptive to, and let's see how we can all hop on a call and move forward with this. So put it all on your partners. You guys don't need to know anything about that, about creative beyond that. That's what I want you guys to say to set up this conversation. Chris, Colin, and I, yourself, and everybody else can come in, and we either do a Zoom. I've actually got a Zoom with the seller right after this. So we can jump on a Zoom, we can jump on a phone call and have that conversation and go over what a creative solution might look like. There's a perfect example for us to be able to work together. Even if you guys aren't sub 2, you get a little bit of an education.
That's the best way to learn. Yep. So we work with a couple of people who do only on-market outreach, and they tag us in. They set up conversation. They set the expectation with the agent to get the seller on the phone. Once they agree, they tag us in, and we all hop on a call. Just from doing that, our buddy John has become like fantastic at pitching terms. Like he can pitch terms. Like John's a beast in his own regard, but he picked up on it very quickly just by setting up so many calls and getting the reps in, and just like hearing the commonality, because there's usually common themes and questions throughout every single conversation. It's just a little bit differently, how you approach the conversation. Obviously, everyone's a little bit different, but just through that alone, he was saying like, yeah, listening to all this stuff, like I'm picking up on it. I see where this is all going. So that's a really good way to learn creative finance, is just tee up the conversation, tag somebody in, be on that call, and learn through the reps. That's it, man. And if you guys notice in that setup right there, I didn't say anything about creative finance. I didn't say sub 2. I didn't sell the seller finance. I didn't say terms. I didn't say anything like that, because I keep seeing it all over Facebook. People will be like, hey, I pitched sub 2, and then they told me to kick rocks. Yeah, that's not something they're interested in. Well, it's because they've never heard of it before. Absolutely. And a confused mind says no. Every single time. So this is recorded. I'm not going to repeat it, but this is recorded. Go back and write that down if you didn't catch it the first time, or if you guys were driving or whatever, and write that down verbatim and set this up, and let us help you guys get your first deal, or your 10th deal, or your 10,000th deal, and let's see how we can all work together.
So I just looked this person up. I think it's Jovi or Joel V. He's saying, I have a few seller finance leads, but seller wants too much down. If the numbers make sense, would you guys JV? 100%. But however, there's many exit strategies on this, right? We would have to underwrite it together. A lot of people say literally the numbers make sense, but in reality, they don't understand like the lending aspect of it. There's a lot more, how much you got to pay a lender back, what the time frame, and that eats up a lot of the cash flow, and a lot of people don't take that in consideration. So we like to get more information if possible before we just say, oh yeah, we're going to do this, and this. But more so, if you want to send it to info@thirdmindrei.com, we'll gladly have that conversation, or just reach out to one of us directly on our socials, and we can make that happen as well. But please, when you do send information over, please have all the information, details. I don't want 7 different emails with 7 different pieces of the property, information, the PITIs in this email, the pictures in this email. Try to literally compile one big email, and that literally have one centralized location when looking at it. That'd be phenomenal. Facebook user again, guys, please grant access so we can know who we're speaking to. Chris, this is a two-bath townhome in Coppell, Texas. Need no renovations. The seller wants $275,000. He's moving out of the country in 2 weeks. Okay, I think this is the person we were speaking about earlier that said wants to JV in two. The person wants to leave in 2 weeks. I think I remember who this person was. I think it was Lisa or Tanera, one of the two. And we'll love to do a JV. Are you available? Are you available this afternoon to speak more about it? Yeah, I am. Let's see what that looks like initially. But again, make sure you have all the information, or at least the information that you have in your possession, so we can see how we can underwrite this, see what the best steps look like. Because maybe 275 is too much. Maybe 275 is the ARV. Maybe he won't be moving out of the country because he wants too much. Like, there's a lot of different things we got to figure out. So absolutely love to have that conversation. Let's see right here. Just email. Austin received it.
Awesome.
Perfect. Teamwork makes the dream work 100%. So I know we're a little bit over time, but guys, we truly appreciate everything you guys are doing in the comments. Again, we're streaming from Facebook, YouTube, and the StreamYard, and I know all comments are coming in all over the place, but more so, I see you guys are trying to JV the best you can. But when you guys are reaching out to people, please, let them know who you are, what you're looking for, what value you can actually add to them. And more so, I'm pretty sure there's millions of dollars to be made in these comments. Literally, that's how I met a lot of the people that we network with. A lot of our private money lenders we met, like, in side comments, just out of conversation, genuine conversations. And people don't understand, like, you got to step out your comfort zone. You really got to step out your comfort zone. And me personally, a lot of people don't understand this. I come from a hospitality restaurant industry. I'm not doing like speaking engagements and stuff. That's not really me, but I do it. And I got my partners in crime, Jesse and Colin. So it's just more so, they push me to the limit more so, and it's great. You need that accountability behind you to ensure that greatness, whatever that may look like for you guys. But Ashley, thank you for being here. Again, guys, every Saturday, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Yes, West, that was Eastern Standard Time, not Arizona time. I think you guys are 2 hours behind us, 3 hours. I can't remember. You guys.
I think they're 2 hours. Arizona is in Mountain Time, I think, right now.
Gotcha. So yeah, Eastern Standard Time, guys. Every Saturday, 1:30. Jesse or Colin, any final thoughts?
Oof, you sprung that on me. No, I mean, for everybody who hasn't done their first deal, squat up. You don't need to know it all. You don't have to understand the full process, soup to nuts. Find a motivated seller, find a distressed property, and then find somebody who can help you get it to the finish line. That's it. The best way to learn is squatting up. Don't get discouraged. If you really want to make this work, it's that's what it is. It's work. It's not going to fall in your lap. You have to go out there. You have to take action. Don't get the paralysis by analysis. You don't have to have it all figured out. The best way to learn is in the field, just out there doing it, on calls with sellers, going to appointments, running numbers over and over and over and over again. That's the only way you get good at anything. So don't get discouraged if you're just getting started. It's not going to happen overnight. Some people do a deal right away. Some people, it takes 2-3 years to do a deal. If this is really want to do, if this is really what you want to do and something you want to, put your all into it, do that. Don't half step, go all in. Obviously be cognizant of your circumstance. If you have a family, you can't just uproot your job, that would be irresponsible. So take inventory of where you are in your life and, what's required for you to get to that next step and that next level of where you want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Jesse, any final thoughts from you?
I mean, in terms of just sales and wholesaling and squatting up and just being intentional, focusing on one thing, I think you guys covered it. The only other thing I would add or ask, if everybody who's watching, if you guys got value today, please, please share it. Please run over to Chris and mine's YouTube. Please subscribe if you guys haven't already. We sincerely and humbly appreciate everybody being here, and we thank you. One of the reasons, as you guys kind of saw earlier in the show, there's a couple people on Zoom who probably weren't aware that we kind of switched the platform from Zoom because we're kind of limited on the audience we can reach on Zoom. And with this being in the Elephant Show and the Elephant Challenge getting as much momentum and as big as it's getting, you know, we want to make sure that we can reach a much broader audience, and just making sure that we're aligning with everybody else who's actually performing and participating in the Elephant Challenge. So if you guys got any value from this, if you guys learned something, if you guys whether you agree with us, disagree with us, hopefully you guys just appreciate the authenticity. But we appreciate you guys being here. We love you guys. And yeah, that's the only thing I would ask is if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you got value from this, share this with somebody or tag somebody in it. That would certainly help us a lot. We know there's a lot of people doing the Elephant Challenge, and we want to try to help as many people as we can. After all, that's what it's all about, is just learning and growing together. So thank you.
Absolutely. And the only thing I can leave you guys with, once Chris Voss and SuperMario stated, I won't ever forget it, never take advice from someone who you are not willing to trade places with. Just remember that. Remember that. But until next time, guys, we appreciate everyone that's here. Again, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. If anything changes, then we'll definitely let you guys know. And spoiler alert, there is a new podcast coming out. So be on the lookout for that. But more so, guys, you're amazing. Please feel free to reach out to any of our social media. Reach out to us on any of our social medias, whatever that may look like. We're willing to JV and help you guys get it to the finish line. Pansy, I almost went to the Zoom forgetting that you guys. Yeah, no, thank you for being here. No worries. And guys, you have a great one. And Kevin, yes, receive it. We received it. We're
going to be looking. I'll be looking at our inbox, immediately following this. So if you didn't include your contact information when you sent it through, just go back and send it through again, just so we know who to contact you. Just put your contact information in that same thread so we can reach out to you. But I'm going to be reviewing this stuff when we get off the call here, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.